Think about how many objects you use every single day without ever questioning them. A keyboard, a spoon, a charger, a ruler. They feel so normal that your brain stops noticing the design completely. But hidden inside some of these objects are tiny details that solve surprisingly massive problems. And rulers are one of the best examples of that. Because if you look closely at the beginning of almost any ruler, you'll notice something strange. The measurements don't start at the edge. There's a small empty gap before the 0 mark. Just a thin strip of wood, plastic, or metal doing seemingly nothing at all. Which is weird, because rulers are literally measuring tools. So why would part of the ruler intentionally not measure anything? As it turns out, that tiny gap exists for a very important reason. Actually, 3 of them. Let's figure this mystery out right here on UnLogic. At first, the empty space looks pointless, but the moment you use a ruler for long enough, the reason starts becoming obvious. Rulers get damaged constantly. They get dropped onto hard floors, shoved into backpacks, scraped across rough desks, and slammed against sharp corners over and over again. And the first part that gets destroyed is the edge. Now imagine if the measuring scale started exactly there. The second that edge gets chipped or worn down, the ruler immediately becomes inaccurate. Even a tiny amount of missing material shifts every single measurement afterward. A damaged corner could quietly ruin every line you draw without you even realizing it. So instead of placing the 0 mark directly on the vulnerable edge, manufacturers move it slightly inward. That empty gap acts like a sacrificial buffer zone. The edge can wear down over time while the actual measuring scale stays accurate. But protecting the ruler from damage isn't the only reason this design exists. The second reason appears before the ruler even leaves the factory. Modern rulers are produced incredibly fast. Large sheets of material are printed in bulk and then sliced into individual rulers by cutting machines moving at high speed. And those cuts need to be extremely precise. If a machine cuts even slightly too far forward, it could remove part of the 0 line itself and ruin the entire ruler. So manufacturers intentionally leave empty space before the measurements begin. That way, small cutting inaccuracies only affect the blank margin instead of the actual scale. It's basically a built-in safety zone for mass production. But there's another reason this tiny gap survived for so many years. And this one has less to do with engineering and more to do with human behavior. When people first learn to use rulers, their instinct is usually wrong. Most beginners naturally try to align objects with the physical edge of the ruler instead of the 0 line. But measurement doesn't start at the edge. It starts at 0. That empty space forces your eyes toward the actual starting point of the scale. In a weird way, the ruler quietly teaches you how to use it correctly without needing any instructions at all. Which means this tiny strip of nothing is secretly doing multiple jobs at once. Protecting accuracy, helping manufacturing, and teaching proper measurement, all hidden inside a gap most people never even think about. And honestly, that's what makes good engineering so fascinating. The smartest design choices are often the ones you barely notice. This is UnLogic.